Hello Roy and hello Anders. My name is Guðrún Geirsdóttir and I come from the Center of Teaching and Learning here at the University of Iceland. And I am very happy to have the two of you with me here today, Roy Andersson and Anders Ahlberg, both experts at the engineering education in Lund University. And you have, this is the third time that we are now going through the process of applying to the teaching academy, and you have, for the first two times, you have been really helpful, giving a very good workshop on how to apply, because this is quite a new task for academics. So I'm very happy for you to be willing to come and talk a little bit about some aspects of the application process. And the first one I wanted to discuss with you is the teaching portfolio, because when you apply to the academy, you have to hand in an application that is more and less based on a teaching portfolio. And at least here at the University of Iceland, we are not very common of writing such portfolios, so this is a new task for many teachers here in Iceland. So you being experts from having read probably thousands of such portfolios, I assume, and evaluated them, what is the important elements of what needs to be included? What is a teaching portfolio?
Right. I think I hand that over to Roy, who would normally explain that. So, Roy, what do you say about it?
Yeah, a portfolio, I mean, can have many purposes, and it could be as you're applying for a position, and like in this case, you're applying for excellence in teaching merits, and but it's a way of documenting your work, and we normally talk about a teaching portfolio is in three parts. Okay. It's the CV, I mean the teaching supervision, the CV, and we can state from the beginning that supervision is teaching as well. Sometimes people don't see that as a teaching. So you have a CV, and normally that's just, I mean, a subset of your normal CV. I mean, you take out all the research stuff and so on. You have your teaching CV, and
so anything you can put on in a list is basically a good thing that might end up in your CV for education.
Yeah, and then you need some evidence of the things you have done and some artifacts. I mean supporting documents in different ways. That's the two normal parts, but then the main part of a teaching portfolio, maybe not the longest, is the teaching reflection. That okay. Because talking about pedagogical competence is a way of showing that you're fulfilling your educational duties, and an important tool in this is your own pedagogical reflection, I mean a critical reflection over your own teaching practice. Mm-hmm. And that's what you do in the reflective part of the portfolio. That could be like 10 pages or something like that. And then normally the CV is just a list, and then the evidence could be appendix of different forms. So okay. That I would say is the three parts of the portfolio, and the new part is the reflection.
Reflection, because we are not really in regards to.
Here comes my colleague Torgny.
Nice to see you, Torgny.
So, yeah, and he's saying Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. That was a good input. Yeah. But you say the reflection is the new part that you usually don't have when you apply for like grants, for research grants or a job. So and you usually don't have to reflect very much on there are frameworks for assessing research. So this is maybe a very different approach that teachers are not used to.
Yeah, I would say that, and but the interesting part is that we have been doing this for more than 20 years, yeah. And now when you apply for for promotion to full professor, or when you apply for a permanent position, a tenured position, or anything, you need to have part of this.
Yeah.
So that's becoming more and more elaborated in applying for positions as well. But here we are talking about on a higher level. I mean, when you apply for your first position, I mean, you haven't done so much teaching, but when you apply for this, you have more, and that's good. You have more to reflect on.
You really have to demonstrate. Yeah, you have more to reflect on. Yeah.
But Guðrún, I think people are. I mean, if we look at the application for a research grant, you have to reflect on your and track your research back in time.
Yeah.
But you also have to track your research into the future. So in a sense, we're not that far away from with the teaching portfolio from the research documentation actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I was maybe more referring to that you often have more standardized ways of reflecting on your research. You have all kinds of benchmarking there that probably you
filling out
do not
forms
have.
and things like that.
That you don't have when you do reflection. And do you think teachers are they used to reflecting on their teaching? Do you think that's common for teachers to do that?
I think there's a great variation there. I mean, within our faculty here, it's a huge variation between individuals and between disciplines and so forth. So I can't see any particular pattern here. Perhaps if you are doing, if you have a pedagogy as your discipline, it might be even harder to write a teaching portfolio, because it's so difficult to filter out what's my teaching practice from what's my pedagogy research. That is actually the group of portfolio writers I find struggle quite a lot, rather than academics from the STEM disciplines, for instance, who are rather far away from pedagogy as a discipline.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing, as I said in the beginning, that you need to have a critical reflection on your own teaching practice, not on your teaching research. I mean, it's your actually teaching should be visible in the portfolio. So
what you do on a daily basis, not a kind of an output, or like often the research is often based on some kind of an output that you can you have something to hold on, but it's maybe more difficult to think what do I do as like you said, the supervision is a part of teaching. So what is my teaching practice that I'm supposed to be reflecting upon? So that could be a challenge.
And one of the reasons why people forget about the supervision part is that most of us have taught thousands of students, right? But we have perhaps only supervised a handful or doctoral students or so. So we tend to just view the supervised students as individuals rather than as a cohort or so. So we forget about it, I guess.
So if I try to sum this up, so a teaching portfolio, you would start with your teaching CV, which is more focused on your teaching activities and your teaching merits or whatever you have without your actual research part of your task. You would have your, what was the second one? The
appendices. I mean,
the appendices to, that support your reflection. And then your reflection is the one of the core parts of it.
Yeah, that's the main part. We would say that's the other one is just supporting parts of the document.
Yeah.
And when you write your teaching reflection, it's really important that you refer to those other documents so that there's a cross-reference. And all of that is, of course, to enhance the credibility of the teaching portfolio, so that anyone who assesses your teaching portfolio can judge whether the content is believable or not. Has this happened in the real classrooms, etc.?
Yeah. Did this actually take place? So it's the validity of the of your statements and so on. Yeah.
True. And by the way, evidence is also telephone numbers and email addresses to colleagues you have worked with. It's not only text artifacts and so forth. It's also just like when you apply for anything, you can put reference persons in those documents. Yes.
Documents as well. Okay.